Look at this hoodie giving me a Kill Bill moment. I feel like ready to fight. It's a moment. There is a damn fly flying around and I do not appreciate. Where is it? I probably shouldn't have said that publicly. Hello, book reading friends. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Melanie, and today I bring you all the books I want to read in January, also known as my January TBR. I cannot believe 2020 is over. We are closing a door, entering a new year, and I cannot wait for all the exciting things that are coming. 2020 was such a crazy year that I truly hope nothing but the best for all of you, and I really truly hope that you all have the best year ever. So in today's video, I am going to break down all of the books that I plan to read in January. Maybe a little bit of readathons, maybe a little bit of read-alongs. I do feel like I'll stick to this one for the most part, but we shall see, because I always say that, then I jinx myself, and then I completely forget that I had a TBR, and the TBR ends up being a lie. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, don't forget to do so down below for more bookish content. I am constantly uploading videos that I am sure you do not want to miss. I am also live streaming throughout the week, doing my weekly reading sprints. In this year, I will be alternating them depending on the day, because we will be getting some impromptu sprints throughout the week. Some will be in the morning, some will be at night, so you'll just have to check your subscription box to see exactly when they are happening. You can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are linked down below. I have a Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, and an Amazon wish list. And yeah, without further ado, let's get cracking with this video, because I already know, with this amount of books, it's probably gonna be a long one. So bear with me, and let's talk about all the books that I plan to read in January. First things first is a book that I am currently in the midst of reading. It was my rollover book from 2020, because I did start this around the end of the year, so I definitely did not get to finish this because it is a chunker. I'm talking about Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. Look at us matching in the yellow moment. We love to see it. But this book definitely did not get finished in 2020, which was my intention. I didn't want it to roll over, but the book is over 900 pages. It's almost 1,000 pages. So at the moment, I am 382 pages in. It is the final book in a series. So far, there's a lot of moving parts in here, a lot of political intrigue, so many things happening at once, and I am loving it because all of the cast of characters are coming together. Definitely excited to finish this one this month. As you know, we are also hosting a read-along for the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas called The Thorns and Roses Along, which if you don't follow us on Twitter yet, I will be leaving the account linked down below in case you want to check it out. But January is actually the month for A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, the second installment in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. Now, we did a live stream for the first book last month, and it was such a fun time. I will leave that link down below in case you want to check it out. But this month, again, we're going to be discussing A Court of Mist and Fury. The live show date that we have is January 30th, which is a Saturday, and the time is yet to be decided, but I think it will be mid-afternoon, and we shall let you know exactly the time once it is set alongside the guest host, so you have all the info. So stay tuned to the Twitter. And in A Court of Mist and Fury, being the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, we follow Feyre after the events of Under the Mountain, and this book in particular will focus a lot more on the Night Court, and it'll focus a lot more on that bargain that Feyre made with Rhysand and all that trauma that will come from the first book. So I'm just really excited to reread this. As you guys know, this is my favorite in the series, so I am just so excited to finally be able to read this physically, tab, annotate, write down all my thoughts. I am just so genuinely excited for this, and I hope you guys are able to join us again. Now, putting those Sarah J. Maas books aside, which one was a rollover and one is for a read-along, I will be talking about some books that I really wanted to read in 2020, but it definitely did not happen. And the first one is actually Grown by Tiffany D. another yellow book. So by the looks of it, I am matching my books today, and it is the moment. So many people have read and loved Grown, and I am just ready to immerse myself in the story and explore the music industry alongside the main character, and just explore Tiffany D. Jackson's writing in general, which I know is a lot of people's favorites, a lot of my friends' favorites, in fact, and I cannot wait to dive in. I had no idea this book had a mystery element, but given the basis of Monday's Not Coming, which is Tiffany D. Jackson's other book, probably should have guessed that this had a mystery in it, because the first line is literally, Corey Fields is dead, and then it follows. When Enchanted Jones wakes with blood on her hands and zero memory of the previous night, no one, the police and Corey's fans included, has more questions than she does. All she really knows is that this isn't how things are supposed to be. Corey was Enchanted's ticket ticket to stardom. So we do follow Enchanted Jones, who has always aspired to be a musician, and once she meets Corey Fields, she sees all the glitz and glam of the industry and she thinks that he can provide everything that she needs to get to stardom. Except that once she starts delving deeper into this relationship with Corey Fields, she realizes that his charm comes with a darker side. And this book will have a lot of talk of the darker side of the music industry and how easy it could be to get into abusive relationships. And again, I had no idea this had a mystery element to it. Why does every time I open a flap to read the synopsis of a Tiffany D Jackson book, I realize that it has a mystery? I had no idea. The next book I'm reading this month is also by Tiffany D Jackson, and I am planning to include these in a weekly reading vlog because my plan is to binge read these back to back because I'm just genuinely excited to get into some of her work. And the next one is actually Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D Jackson. Another book that I had no idea included a mystery. I really just added this to my wish list because my girl Christine from Any Endings, she absolutely adored this book and she actually got it for me for Christmas. So I am just genuinely excited for this because I know all of my friends have adored Monday's Not Coming and all of them have told me there is no way you're gonna guess that ending. There is absolutely no way you're gonna foresee that plot twist. And I literally told them I will earn my PhD in plot twist guessing and y'all better have a certificate ready for me because I'm about to guess this plot twist, okay? I will try my hardest. I will play detective, okay? Detective MelReads. I probably shouldn't have said that publicly. And in this book, of course, we have Monday, who is one of the main characters. Her name is Monday Charles, and she has been missing for a while, and the only person who seems to notice that is actually her best friend, Claudia. Monday and Claudia have been inseparable for years. They could be considered more as sisters rather than best friends, and Claudia has been a firm advocate that Monday would never leave her behind to suffer through classes, to suffer through everyday life without any emotional support. And Claudia is also trying to figure out exactly what happened to her friend, except Monday's sister is no help and her mother much less so. So I am really excited to try and crack the mystery that is Monday Charles, see exactly what happened to her, try and catch all of those foreshadowing moments. As you know, I love playing detective in thrillers, in mysteries, and this will be absolutely no different. And I do know from what my girl Jaleesa told me earlier, this book will deal a lot with child abuse and trauma, so just beware of those if you are ever interested in going into Monday's Not Coming. I am sure Grown also would have a lot of trigger warnings. I personally, since I haven't read them, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but once I read them, I will for sure let you know. A book that I've been putting off for such a long time, only because I already know the ending. Because me being me, I went on to Goodreads after I finished the first book, and I was like, oh my god, let me out the second and the third one onto my want to read shelf. It's gonna be a cute moment. And then I read the synopsis for the third book, which completely spoils the ending for the second book. But now I need to read this because I need to prepare for the third book, which is coming out in like 2 weeks. And that is actually A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the second book in the Cursebreaker series, the first one being A Curse So Dark and Lonely. So I definitely need to read this in preparation of that third book because even though I know how this ends, I don't know exactly how we got there. And this book does follow my favorite character from the first book, Gray, who was part of the Royal Guard. And that plot twist at the end with Gray of A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I was not expecting at all. And so I'm excited to see exactly where that journey takes him in book 2. And in the Cursebreaker series, we follow Prince Ren after he is cursed by a powerful enchantress, and soon he becomes more beast than man, and he starts basically going on a killing spree in his kingdom. There is not a lot of people left, and Gray is one of the only people who are constantly there to help him. The terms are simple: fall in love and break the curse. And so Gray, every once in a while, travels to the human world, which is a completely separate thing to Emberfall, which is the kingdom that they live in, to essentially snatch girls up, take them to the kingdom, and make them fall in love with this prince. And one day, our protagonist, Ren, actually sees Gray trying to snatch a girl on the streets of Washington, D.C. And in a bout of heroics, she saves the girl, and she is accidentally snatched instead of this other girl. And so now, in the kingdom of Emberfall, Harper is there to try and solve this curse that she has absolutely no idea about. As you can see, it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I am guessing, based on this book, it will deviate from that retelling aspect. I'm really not sure. I don't know know if every single book is supposed to be like a different retelling. I'm gonna make my research on that because I am not really sure if it is or isn't supposed to be. So definitely have to read that this month if I want to get into the third book in February because I gotta keep up. I do know we also follow this other character. Like literally their POV is introduced in this book and her name is Liamara. I don't know who she is, so I hope she's a good character. I had to include this in here because I know for sure I'm reading this not only because I am most likely doing a 24-hour readathon at the end of the month, but also because I'll feel hella accomplished if I get a good amount of books in the first month of the year, and that is Saga Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I am honestly pumped for Volume 3 because Volume 2 ended in a cliffhanger. I'm just excited to see where this volume is going to take us. And again, if you don't know what Saga is about, this is a sci-fi meets fantasy, kind of like a Game of Thrones meets Star Wars. Star Wars primarily for that sci-fi element, and then Game of Thrones because of the mature topics that we see during the graphic novel. Like it's very graphic, like there's nudity and there's like crazy stuff in here, so just beware that if you want to get into Saga. And the premise of Saga is that we follow two soldiers from opposing sides of the war as they fall in love and they have a kid together, and the entire galaxy is out to get them because they have broken treaties and vows that they made to their sides of the war, and they are on the run trying to raise this kid together. And there's a lot of moving parts to this graphic novel too, which I feel is what makes it even more interesting. Not only do we get the POV of Marco and the girl's name, I always forget it. Marco and his wife and the daughter, and then we have the bounty hunter and we have Gwendolyn. So again, there's a lot of moving parts that I quite enjoy in this. The illustrations are also gorgeous, the color palette, like everything about this graphic novel is super nicely made. And again, I cannot wait to see how this progresses after that cliffhanger that we got in Volume 2. I am kind of ashamed that I am putting this book in here again because this book has been in like a trillion TBRs and I don't even know what to do with myself at this point rather than hide in shame because I am including Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo in this TBR again. I don't know what is wrong with me because this book sounds so incredibly interesting. A lot of people that I know, a lot of people that I follow, a lot of my friends have adored this book when they read it, and I just keep pushing it off. I literally bought this book because Mick from Mickless Writes used to rave about Ninth House, and I was just like, if Mick loves this and Mick also writes, there must be something really, really great about this book, and so I bought it and I haven't read it yet. The final push though has been seeing my girl Jaleesa from Bounded and Bookmarked love this book. And Ninth House is a dark academia and we follow Alex Stern. I feel like I've said this synopsis a million times, but we follow Alex Stern after a very big accident happens and she is the sole survivor. And once she is in the hospital in her bed, she receives the opportunity of a lifetime from the very high up people from jail, which goes as follows. You come to jail, all expenses paid, you don't need to do anything, but you need to infiltrate some secret societies and find out exactly what's going on in there. And Alex truly does not feel adequate for such a high society place, and so she goes to Yale, she accepts, because apparently the gift that she has will lend itself useful for these people. And again, it will explore that darker side to high education, particularly secret societies in a very prestigious university. This is Leigh Bardugo's first adult fantasy novel. It is supposed to be part of a series. I don't know how many books there's supposed to be in here. I don't know when the second book is coming out. I do know this ends in a cliffhanger, and I'm gonna read it, okay? I am gonna read this. If this is not in my January wrap-up, somebody come for me, okay? Somebody at me. I said I was gonna read this book in January because I do want to start the series, and I'm gonna stick to it because I am really intrigued by this book, and it is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Now, I have heard that it would be nice for me to go into the novella first before going into The Bone Season, and so The Pale Dreamer by Samantha Shannon, and I'm gonna be reading The Bone Season alongside that prequel novella situation. I have no idea what the novella is about. I'm gonna keep it that way, and then I'm gonna read that and then hop onto The Bone Season. However, in The Bone Season, we follow Paige Marconi, who works in the underground of Scion London, and she has a very particular task. She needs to find important information and break into people's minds. In the world of Scion London, clairvoyants are strictly forbidden. It is against the law to be a clairvoyant, and Paige is exactly that. And one day she is actually attacked in the middle of the night and dragged to a very different side of town. She is actually transported to Oxford, which is a city that has been kept secret for over 200 years. And there she will meet, I always forget his name. Last time I said it was Jack. That was not factual. His name is Warden. There she meets Warden, and he will make sure that she is thoroughly trained for what she needs to do. Aside beside that, I don't know anything about the bone season. I have not been spoiled for a single damn thing. I know this is a lot of people's favorites. I am ready to dive into this one, see what it's all about, and also dive into the novella. Again, it is available on Scribd. A book that I actually thought I'd be able to read on Christmas Day, and I have no idea why, because I literally almost drowned in books during December. But I will most likely get around to this because now I'm still in the Christmas spirit. Christmas is technically over, but not really in this household, so I'm good to read this in January. We're good. It is actually The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. I am kind of seeing my TBR, and there's a lot of books in here, so I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but I am just throwing options in here that I know I am in the mood for, and I'll just pick and choose what I want to read throughout the month, because I do think I have 16 books in here. And The Afterlife of Holly Chase is actually a Christmas Carol retelling, and it's a given. We follow Holly Chase in this book. As 5 years in the past, she is visited by 3 ghosts of Christmas past who show her exactly what her life is going to turn out to be. She is going to turn out spoiled and conceited, and she's going to be a really terrible person. They try and convince her to mend her ways, and then she doesn't. And exactly when she doesn't, she dies. Now, in her afterlife, she is a part of Project Scrooge as one of the last ghosts of Christmas past, and she will be given a very important task as a ghost of Christmas past, which will essentially change her life, which in the afterlife has been very boring until now. I am genuinely so excited to read this. Everyone says this is like a Christmas staple. Everyone on Booktube seems to love The Afterlife of Holly Chase. So I'm really excited to dive into this one. I am again still in that Christmassy mood. Maybe it's because I didn't really get to read anything Christmassy during December. We shall see, because if there's any sort of romance in here and Holly is dead, that just gives me like the biggest Christmas movie vibes, and I am here for all of that, honestly. The next book in the TBR is actually a buddy read that is meant to happen with Sarah and Deja, and I do not have a good track record with buddy reads, so I will try my best to keep up with it. But the book is actually Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. Beautiful cover, incredible premise. There is the element of superpowers, which we all know I love. So I am really hoping that I am in the mood for this at some point in the month, because if not, I am going to cry. And in this book, we follow Roger and Dodger, who are twin siblings, and they both have their own different qualities that make them extraordinary. We have Roger, who is skilled with words, languages come easily to him, and then Dodger, who numbers are her world, her obsession, her everything, except that these twins are not exactly human. They aren't quite gods yet, though. Not yet. And I have never read this part of the synopsis. Look at this. Meet Reed, skilled in the alchemical arts like his progenitor before him. Reed created Dodger and her brother. He's not their father. Not quite. But he has a plan to raise the twins to the highest power, to ascend with them and claim their authority as his own. Godhood is attainable. Prey isn't attained. This book honestly sounds incredible. I really hope I'm in the mood for it at one point in the month, because the synopsis sounds incredible. The next book on my TBR, and I will be reading this with my eyes as I listen to it on audio, which will be the first time for a fantasy book, and it's actually Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I have owned this book for such a long time. The pages are nasty, they're yellow, and it's the way that I also know nothing about this book. Mayor Barrow's world is divided by blood, those with red and those with silver. Mayor and her family are lowly reds, destined to serve the silver elite whose supernatural abilities make them nearly gods. Mare steals what she can to help her family survive, but when her best friend is conscripted into the army, she gambles everything to win his freedom. A twist of fate leads her to the royal palace itself, where, in front of the king, she discovers a power of her own. Except her blood is red. That is all I need to know. That is all I'm gonna read. The biggest plot twist that could come out of January is actually me enjoying this book a lot more than intended. So we will see what happens, because I think Scribd has all of them in audio. And now that I know a little bit more about it, I definitely am more excited to read this. Another book that I put in my TBR because I've been putting it off for the longest time ever, and I really need to get this read because the hype for this during December was real, given that the last book in the series actually came out during that month, and it is actually An Ember in the Ashes by Saga Tahir. I am really excited for this book. Like, I really, truly, genuinely am. Look at the floppiness, okay? This is me grabbing it harshly. Just look at that. Oh, this could qualify as too floppy. The world of An Ember in the Ashes is actually inspired on ancient Rome. I am always hella intrigued by anything to do with ancient Greece, ancient Rome, so that right off the bat catches my eye, intrigues me. We have Laia, who is a slave, and Elias, I really don't know how to pronounce these names, and he is actually a soldier. Where they live under the martial empire, defiance is met with death. Laia and her family really know this through and through, so they do absolutely nothing to defy the empire. They behave the best that they can, except one day when it goes horribly wrong. Out of nowhere, Laia's brother is actually imprisoned for treason, and Laia is forced to make a decision. She partners up with the rebels, who tell her that they will help get her brother back. Only condition is that she infiltrates a military academy to find out more information on the empire. There, in fact, Laia meets Elias, I am really butchering names on here, but she meets this soldier who is one of the best in the academy. And the one thing that they don't realize is that, one, Elias is super reluctant to be there, and two, their fates are more entwined than they ever thought they would be. I have heard people just weep their eyes out with the last book. I am so ready to read the series and see what it is all about. Another book that I am including in here primarily because I really need to read this book this year, and I feel maybe one of the only ways that I can actually read this is, one, starting it during a live stream, and two, reading it earlier in the year so that I can just, you know, push through. At the beginning, I was so pumped for this book. I was so excited for its synopsis. The second book came out last year, and then slowly but surely, the only thing that I was hearing about this book was negatives, and the way that just bumped down my excitement was unreal. But what reassures me is the fact that this was gifted to me by a subscriber that says it's one of her favorite books, so that definitely hypes me up a little bit more to think that I may really enjoy this. And it is actually The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. This is a beautiful cover. I just don't want to like put it too much in the light because it will reflect with the ring light. This book without the dust jacket is absolutely stunning. Like, I just love when they have the signs under the dust jacket, and I was truly interested in this book when I first added it to my wish list because it is an Arthurian retelling, and I love anything that has to do with Arthurian legend. I don't think I have ever read it enough in books to say that I love it, perhaps in literature retelling form, but any movie that I have watched that is a retelling, I have thoroughly enjoyed. Like, it's definitely something that I was obsessed with growing up, and so the premise of this definitely intrigues me because it is told from the perspective of Guinevere, who in the general mythos is actually Arthur's wife. Princess Guinevere has come to Camelot to wed a stranger, the charismatic King Arthur. With magic clawing at the kingdom's borders, the great wizard Merlin conjured a solution: send in Guinevere to be Arthur's wife and his protector from those who want to see the young king's idyllic city fail. The catch: Guinevere's real name and her true identity is a secret. A girl who has given up everything to protect Camelot. I think that is truly all I need to read to be intrigued with this book. Again, it's told from the perspective of Guinevere, who may or may not be a Guinevere. That situation in and out of itself sounds very intriguing, and a person who has given up everything in their life to protect someone else, to protect a kingdom, is definitely something that sounds fantastical and right up my alley. So I'm truly excited to see how this is gonna go down, and I think romance in this book is also gonna be inevitable because of Guinevere and Arthur and their origin. It's also not that long. Like, this book is 336 pages. Like, it's totally doable for me to do this in an entire reading sprint session or in one sitting regardless of. Okay, and then for the final section in this TBR, we actually have a readathon that I am participating in, and I am so genuinely excited to be participating because it is hosted by one of my favorite people on Booktube, Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte, alongside Gabby Reads, who is another amazing booktuber. And as I told all of you guys, all my reading goals for 2021, I did say that I wanted to participate in more readathons, and so start off the year, you know, kick off with the right foot. We have Winterween, which is hosted by these lovely people, and it is the winter version of a readathon that they hosted last year during summer called Summerween. So I am definitely excited to partake in this. I have cheated the system with this one, so it is kind of like a lose participate. I am spinning the narrative to benefit my bookshelf. This readathon is actually running from the 4th of January all the way to the 10th. There is also a buddy read, which is The Hunting of Bryn Wilder. I don't quite know if I'm gonna get to that buddy read. I will try my hardest to. One of the prompts for Winterween is read a book with blue on the cover, and it is actually The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This is the novellas from Throne of Glass. It is a bind-up of novellas. I do believe there's 5 novellas in here, so I am excited to read this because my plan was to make a little experiment, okay, where I finished Kingdom of Ash and then I went back towards the beginning and read Assassin's Blade. There was no way I was reading that before Kingdom of Ash, so I'm just gonna read that at the end, okay? It's exactly what they say in math. No matter how you do the equation, the result should be the same. And the result here shall be reading the entirety of Throne of Glass, so I'm good. And from what I've heard in Assassin's Blade, we follow Selena, who is the main character in the Throne of Glass series, before the events of Throne of Glass, as she is found by Arobin Hamel, I think it's his name, who is a super feared and recognized assassin in all of the land. I do know he has like a very particular name that I cannot remember, and we follow Selena as she is found by Arobin and is introduced to his tutelage, where she is trained by him and she is introduced to the keep. When I read that, it'll give the story a lot more depth. And I also know the ending of the novella is right before the start of Throne of Glass, so that is going to be really interesting to see. And this also works out perfectly because the Tog-Along, which is a read-along for Throne of Glass hosted by Steph, Jody, Sid, and Molly, is starting in January, and their first book is actually Assassin's Blade. So again, works out perfectly, and it has a blue on the cover. We love to see it. The two following prompts that I am combining to a single book is read a book with a winter setting and read a short book between 200 and 300 pages. For this one, I am actually choosing In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, a book everyone and their mother read during December, but I didn't get to. So I am definitely gonna knock this out during Winterween. I think this is definitely the more plausible one because it is the shortest. I don't know if I'll get to all three of them during the week of Winterween, but I'll try my best to do so because Winterween starts in 2 days. And this book is a Groundhog Day situation where we follow the main character. I always forget her name. It's Maylin Jones, and she is on vacation with her family for the holidays, and once she is driving back to the airport, I believe, she actually has a car accident that brings her back to the past, to that very first flight that took her to the vacation to begin with. So she will start reliving the same day over and over and over again as an opportunity, I guess, to right all the wrongs during this holiday season. So I am definitely excited to get into In a Holidays. And then the last prompt I'm doing for Winterween is actually read a book with haunt on the title. I may just get to the group read, which is The Haunting of Bryn Wilder, that does have haunt in the cover, but would it be a video of mine if I didn't twist this to benefit me and my agenda? It is actually The Haunting of Home Before Dark. I'm kidding, that's literally not the title of the book, I swear. The title of the book is Home Before Dark. It is by Bradley Sager. It's got nowhere in here does it say haunt, okay? But I'm cheating the system on this one because I really want to read Home Before Dark, and it has like a haunted house in it. So it doesn't have haunt in the title, but it's got something haunted in the content, and that's all that matters in here, okay? So I'm fitting in Home Before Dark on this one. I've talked about this book a million times before, but I did say I wanted to read this during Winterween, except I realized there was prompts, and then I realized that this book fit none of them, and so I had to figure out a way. And so I am here with Home Before Dark by Bradley Sager. We do follow our main character, Maggie, who when she was younger lived in a manor with her dad and her mom, and her dad actually ended up writing a memoir of every single bad experience that he had inside this house, every single paranormal, supernatural experience that he had. And while she was growing up, she actually never believed that those occurrences were true, except when she goes back to this house to flip it, to put it on sale, she starts realizing that there might have been more truth to her father's memoir than she ever thought possible. And those are actually all the books that I have for you guys today. That is my January TBR, all the books that I plan to read this month. I am being way too ambitious with the amount of books that I put in here, but to be fair, I do know I'm not gonna get to all of these. These are just to give myself options in case I'm not feeling something. At least I have some sort of structure so that I know where to go to if I'm feeling a certain way. And again, I am participating in read-alongs and readathons, so that should help me stick to at least some of these books. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are planning to read in the month of January. Let me know if you're participating in the Thorns and Roses along, because I definitely want to chat with you guys and see you all on the live show. Let me know if you've read any of these books actually, because I am always super interested to see how you guys feel towards certain books, because I know a lot of these books, if not all of them, have gotten a lot of hype as of lately or since they came out. And if you reach the end of the video, make sure to leave a house emoji down below in honor of Home Before Dark. You know, the haunting of Home Before Dark. I hate myself so much. I really should not have made that joke. That is going to haunt me. See what I did there? Forever. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. I am constantly uploading videos. I am sure you do not want to miss. I am in the midst of planning all of my 2021 videos. Not all of them, but like at least for January. And I am also live streaming throughout the week, doing weekly reading sprints that I am sure you do not want to miss. And you can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below. Everything is down there. My book of the month link, my script link. There is my Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, my Amazon wishlist. Everything is down there. You know where to find me. And yeah, I love you guys so much. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.